Salutations, dear viewers. This is George from Ireland. Here I am in Moscow. So I'm in the Krasnopresnitska area. It's a metro station with that name, hard by. So it means red press, as in printing press. And in 1905, this was the site of some of the heaviest fighting. That failed revolution, which began January 1905, carried on for several months, led to Tsar Nicholas II issuing the October Manifesto in October 1905, which was civil liberties, an elected parliament, all that, which he largely reneged upon. But anyway, in this park, what really catches my eye is what you can see behind me is Government House, commonly called the White House. So Moscow's a White House like Washington does, though this one certainly doesn't resemble that southern mansion style. In October 1993, this was the seat of heavy fighting. So the Soviet Union had been dissolved on Christmas Day 1991, and the Russian Federation established. The Russian Federation was still operating on the Soviet Constitution of 1978. The USSR went through several constitutions. Anyhow, and there was this constitution, and the parliament, that's the Duma and the Federal Assembly, they were really supposed to be in the driving seat, not the president, but President Yeltsin was the head of state. And there was a dispute between the parliament, which is based in the White House, and President Yeltsin. So what was to happen? It came to blows, to an attempt to overthrow the government. But who had the final say? Was it the parliament or President Yeltsin? Some people say legally it should have been Parliament. But anyway, President Yeltsin ordered the military to bombard the White House, where some of the MPs, well, most of them were opposing him, were holed up. And it came to that. There was firing on the White House. Quite a few people were killed. The deputy president, and there was one, was dismissed. That post has since been abolished, and several people went to jail. So that was it. Only 2 years earlier, the Soviet Union had been the second mightiest country in the world. A few years before that, people thought the Soviet Union might really win the Cold War. And there in 1993, there was open fighting on the streets of Moscow. But anyway, Western countries chose to throw their lot behind Yeltsin because they thought he was committed to reform to full democracy, to capitalism, and so forth. And some people say legally that wasn't it. So he prevailed. The military, when push came to shove, they did obey his orders. And that was that. Some people say that was wrong, should have been more of a parliamentary system, not a presidential system, and that was a real turning point. So Russia was in very dire straits in the early 90s with hyperinflation and capital flight and people not being paid for months on the end, and quite a lot of violent crime. Russia was very dependent on loans from foreign countries, was going through shock therapy. These Western economic advisors said to just privatize things as fast as possible, which had dire repercussions for many ordinary folk. And that's why the opinion of foreign governments carried so much weight in 1993. It wouldn't matter now. So there we are. That is the White House, obviously long since repaired and fully functional. It's near the banks of the Moscow River. It's just on the northern side of the river.